Memphis. Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee, the beautiful land in the world.
And I'm thankful for this guy who tweeted and said, I don't have that fire in my eye no more. That game right there was for him. That's what I do. I prove people wrong each and every night, and that's for him right there.
Hi, this is Tom Izzo at Michigan State, and you're listening to Grizz 901.
What up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to another episode of Grizz 901. I am your host, Daniel Greer, and we are back with another episode, another post-game show. Not the episodes. We're done with the episodes. Another post-game show here at Grizz 901. We are part of the Bluff City Media Network. Thank you for joining us as always, but make sure you hit the subscribe. Don't do that before you don't miss out on the more content we have that's going to keep coming out each and every post game. But also hit the like button. As you come in, wipe your feet. And as I say, hit that thumbs up. But tonight the Grizzlies go down again. We are 1-7. It's not ideal. I agree with everybody. But the Grizzlies are they're playing much better at times. But again, tonight just could not get away from the Heat. And when they really needed to pounce on them, the Heat just looked like they were the more dominant, more veteran team. And that's what it really came down to. There's a lot of stuff that we can talk about, and a lot of stuff we will talk about tonight within the different players, a lot of the coaching, the rotations, and kind of what that looks like in general. And then we're going to wrap it all up in a pretty little bow for you and give you the Jazz preview on Friday. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. All right, Nate. First thoughts, hit off the top rope.
Honestly, I don't feel terrible after that game. I'm mad because they lost, and I think they could have won that game. But I don't feel bad about it. I mean, that's a team that was just in the NBA Finals. That the problem was you.
Hold on, real quick. I don't mean to interrupt you, but that team that is currently on the floor is not the team that was in.
Well, no,
finals.
but the main pieces are right. And at the end of the day, you let them get to play the game they wanted to play. That's why you lost. The game got slow, and then the Grizzlies had no energy on the offensive side of the floor in the fourth quarter. There was no kind of off-ball movement. There was no kind of really movement at all. It was kind of screen and hope it works, and that's not going to win. But all in all, I thought the Grizzlies played fine. You get a good game out of Dez, I think you probably win the game, even with the fourth quarter going the way it went. So I don't feel terrible about it. I don't understand why we don't play our best lineups, but it's not my job. It's not my job to do that.
I think it's a struggle right now. And as Dak Daniels says, that was a basketball game, I think. And literally, like, it was just the refs marred it. Like, it was just like the flow was just weird. The whistles were so late. I haven't heard and seen a game where the whistles were just consistently late. Like, I don't know if they were like watching, process, tape delay. Now we can go ahead and push the whistle.
They shot 60 total free throws tonight, dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
disgusting.
it's well over a free throw a minute. And at the end of the day, and then not to mention Mark Lindsay decides to give a short essay for every decision they decide to make in a replay. Like, I swear to God, the guy thinks he's Homer. He's like writing the Odyssey over there in the replay booth. But I mean, the refs, the officiating played into Miami's hands, not because it was a super unfair whistle.
Yeah.
I mean, the first quarter was pretty one-sided, but in general, I mean, the Heat shot 32. The Grizzlies shot 28 free throws. It wasn't a huge discrepancy. That's just fits the Heat style of basketball better than it fits the Grizz style of basketball. So it was pretty brutal, but I don't think it was necessarily unfair. And I think both teams, I bet both teams were pretty frustrated with officiating.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated because I had to watch that crap. And whatever official was in the Bucks game had a vendetta against Giannis and threw him out 3 rebounds before I needed him to go. In the middle of the third quarter.
He was under his 5.5 assists, which is phenomenal for me. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, whatever. Rough night for officiating and the relationship with Nathan. I've been trying to work on my temper, but I think it's a lost cause.
All right, so the Grizzlies go down 108-102. Just in general, we're going to hit on our thoughts overall on the game and break it down a little bit, have some fun. If it's your first time joining us, thank you for kind of hanging out with us. We're here each and every game. After every single win or loss, somebody will be here from the team. Grizz 901 here at the Bluff City Media Network will be here. We have some big things up our sleeves. I have some things I actually thought about today a lot. Nate has no idea about them. I did not talk to him about that. But I do have some things up my sleeve that I'm actually going to try out because I'm afraid. Let me get to my comments. As Volcano, I just get so upset every time I see his name now. But it says the season might be lost. I'm not going to go there just yet. I know we are at 1-7. That sucks. But Volcano's, dude, he's just fired him at this point. Like everybody's getting it tonight. He wants Taylor fired after this year. So what I will say is,
well,
it has been frustrating. So what I'm thinking is just in general to kind of let everybody in on, we're going to break down the games. We're going to give you the content. We're going to entertain you, but also I think I have some things up my sleeve that might actually keep the season, I guess, entertaining in a sense and keep us entertaining for you. But the Grizzlies overall, they are struggling. And they're struggling with an identity. And that's what I saw tonight is when they were getting to the pick and roll type offense, you're like, that is the Grizzlies type offense. They were getting to that whenever they wanted to. And it was mainly not Bam Adebayo. He was doing that too. But Bismack Biyombo. Like he was doing that. And honestly, a lot of times it was with Marcus Smart. And that's what was helping the Grizzlies is running that two-man game, and then you can either kick to each other, you can drive with the lead guard, or you're kicking out to a guy who's open in the three. Tonight was not that. Tonight was not that at all. Like we were doing that in spurts, and then eventually we would get away with that, and then we'd go kind of the 4 out, 1 in, but our one would be so deep, he wasn't doing anything to help us be creative. And that's what I think in all, we don't have an identity just yet because like Bane has to be Superman if we're going to be good. And tonight he was not Superman. He was not even Robin. I don't even know what he is tonight.
So I want to end on a positive note. I want to get to a positive note, which means I want to start on my negative note is what I'm going to do. Dude, I do not understand Taylor's decision making. I don't understand what's going on with that.
All right, like so real quick. Okay, so let's you fire them off.
I'm giving you specific
answer. Yeah, because I think I see it, and maybe I might be able to help. I am not giving them a pass on a lot of things, but I think I might be able to help you understand. Maybe me just realize that maybe he sucks. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, what would you say is the best lineup that the Grizzlies have? I already said what I thought it was before the show started.
You know, I think it depends. Okay. I think it is Bane, Jaren, Bismack Biyombo, and I'm going to stop there. I think that's our best lineup, those three. Obviously, you need 5 to play basketball.
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
In that case.
Okay.
What has the Grizzlies' biggest struggle been?
Probably just scoring, but also 3-point defense as well.
Yeah, they've had a lot of struggles, but the struggle's scoring, dude. They can't put the ball in the bucket.
Right.
Their best scoring lineup is those 3 guys, Marcus Smart and Luke Kennard.
Okay.
That is your best chance of putting the ball in the bucket.
I agree.
And quite frankly, you're going to be able to defend a lot better and still get rebounds.
All right. So
even with Luke Kennard on the floor.
Let me fight back on that. I agree that that's our best scoring lineup. Okay. Marcus Smart has been an absolute flake. Like he sometimes looks great and sometimes he looks worse than Dylan Brooks. Like
that's okay. That's okay.
Right. But you have to ride the teeter-totter. Okay. The exact same thing can be said about Santi Aldama. He was unplayable in the first half, great in the second half. Zaire was great at times and so bad at times. Roddy?
Not tonight.
Like
Zaire's pretty terrible all night tonight.
Right. I'm saying in general. I'm sorry, not just tonight. I'm saying in general. But like most of the time, you can say that for both. And that's why I said with Bismack Biyombo, you know what you're getting. Okay. Bane.
Okay.
So my issue. Let me fight back on your. Yes. So let me fight back on what you were saying is I agree with what you're saying on those 5 guys. My issue is they can't play every single minute. So
No, they
I'm going to throw it back to you. What do you do if you are starting with them? Okay, you're starting with those 5 guys. And that's obviously what you're planning on going, and you're going to close with those 5 guys, I'd imagine. What are you doing throughout the game? Because there has to be rotations. There has to be.
Okay. There has to be rotations. I'm not against that. Here's my thing. Before the 5-minute mark of the fourth quarter, after the Heat go back up by 8, they should play more than 3 minutes together.
Okay. So that's
your biggest trouble.
Gotcha, okay.
Your biggest trouble as a team is putting the ball in the bucket. You need to play your lineup with the best shot of putting it in the bucket more than 3 minutes before the game starts getting out of hand. You just got to, man. You have to. And listen, my second part of that, because we've already talked about that, when you get to this, I'm already going to speak for you a little bit. I know the players have to do this too. And recognize this too. Dude, Bam Adebayo shot 90% from that little free throw line shot tonight. Yeah. At what point is it the coach's responsibility to tell your team to go guard that? Well, I know the players have to make a decision. But, dude, at the end of the day, if something keeps happening, a guy's shooting a shot, I mean, I'm not kidding. I think he shot 90% from that shot tonight and hit about 12 shots. Like, at what point is it the coach's job to go say, stop that? Don't let him do that.
All right, so
I don't understand it, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Listen, that is frustrating because you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, in a sense, because if you do close out on that, he's athletic enough to be able to get around you at times. If you give him a little bit of space and he pops in your eye, that's your damned if you don't. But the issue is you have to cut that middle and you got to live on the edge a little bit. That's what our issue is. 3-point defense, and then whatever that was tonight on Bam. You have to live on the edge just a little bit to see if you can confuse them. If you play the same way every time, you know when you get the ball as an offensive player, you already know what you're doing. And at that point, you're losing as a defensive player because you're going to let somebody get what they want. And you can't do that in the NBA or any high-level basketball.
And Daniel, here's my thing. If he's just in his bag and beating you, then he's just in his bag and beating you. Make him mix it up. But here's the other thing. Did you look at those lineups that the Heat are throwing out today?
They're trash.
They're not much different than the lineups the Grizzlies are throwing out.
That's what I said.
And Taylor doesn't run a double until you get to the last possession when all you need is a solid defensive possession. And he decides to have Santi help run a trap on Kyle Lowry. That's the only time he throws a double. Dude, like, what are we doing? You have to play like every game matters right now.
Yeah.
You don't have to win every game. I don't think it's a lost season. Ja gets back, you might play some real freaky basketball and go on a run of all runs. So I'm not saying the season's over, man. But you have to play like every single one of these games matters. Why is that you don't run a double at Bam the entire game? Like, let him pass it to Jaime Jaquez. Let that happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just don't understand. It looks like they're lost and they don't have a plan out there.
Yeah. I think a lot of times Taylor can be criticized 100% for doing the same thing over and over and over again. That's his style. He thinks that if you do the same thing, if you do it the right way, then that means that you're going to eventually get the results you want. That's his style. That can be very frustrating, right? But if you're consistent enough and you do it the right way, he believes, and it's shown, that it's the right way and it will do the right thing. But unfortunately, I don't think he has the sharpest knives on the shelf anymore. I think he's dealing with some sporks at this point. And that's his problem. Like, we're fighting with sporks and it's not fair. But also, so is Miami tonight. It's just they have a more veteran team that's able to figure out their identity. They have their identity. They're not losing enough people to matter on the first part. One thing I want to fight back on you on one thing, and then I want to get to the comments. We can go back to this, guys. I think this is important because it helps me see it differently than you might, and also and vice versa. Yeah. But what I will say is, all right, so those lineups, I like that, right? I like having that starting lineup. The problem is you have to figure out a way to get yourself back to that lineup. And sometimes that's tough because you will agree to this as well. You have to have either Bane or Jaren on the floor at all times, right? So how do you get back to that lineup that has Bane and Jaren in it if you're not allowing them to, if you happen to overlap them every single time on and off the court. That's the struggle, is you have to find a way to substitute Luke for Bane, and then you have to go maybe, I don't know, you have to go Santi in for Jaren, and those overlap, and they have to replace each other. It's very tough. And so I don't want to say it's not tough, but I will say you have to find a way to get back to it. Unfortunately, a lot of times it's at the very close of the half and the very close of the game is really the only times you can really get back to that if your bench sucks this bad.
Yeah, but get to it. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying I understand it's tough, but then start that lineup. And listen, I understand it's only been a couple of games since Luke's been back and you've been starting Zaire, but like, dog, don't start Zaire. Don't.
Sheesh.
Start these guys so you can get to your lineup early, in with the lineup. That's what you have to do it. And quite frankly, I think you're absolutely right. At the same time, we still have minutes without Bane and Jaren on the court happening still.
Yeah.
So like
you have to do that if you're going to get back to those two together. You have to. And that's okay. Yeah, but you just got to figure out a way to survive those few minutes. Anyway, let's get to
and I actually thought they did a pretty good job surviving that tonight.
They did the whole bench, I believe.
Positive.
Their starters were all positive. Almost everybody on their bench was a negative except for Duncan. He's a +2. Every starter was a minus, and every bench player on the Grizzlies was a plus. Like, listen, that doesn't mean anything, but it's a little telling of how the night kind of went. It just seems like their team was just better than ours at times. You want to listen to Coach Jenkins real quick? Let's listen to Coach Jenkins. I kind of like these mid-show.
Bring it on.
Bring it. Do it. Do it.
When you turn your phone upside down, the volume goes on the other side, guys. I don't know if y'all realize that or not.
A lot of guys play well. Credit their physicality really bothered us. I think we were frantic at times. We tried to settle in and just couldn't get a rhythm going tonight.
He breathes so hard.
Taylor, before the game and just throughout the season,
Parker,
you mentioned get into your second and third actions, and tonight with just Miami's coverage on Bane as well as the coverage on Luke, face guarding him after the first quarter. Where do you assess, I guess, the execution of those second and third actions, and where exactly could you grow and improving on that?
More work is where we can grow for sure. I thought our running habits didn't really help us get into the right spots on the floor, and we were bringing the ball up in weird spots of the floor too, so it was hard to recognize when we needed to slow down. And there were moments that we did better, but too much of the game we were just running kind of around out of position. That's on me to get these guys better organized, and then if they're going to take Dez, Luke away, we have other guys that are capable of making plays. We got to settle down, get the screen set, come off, get our spacing a little bit better. We were just too frantic tonight.
On Bam, obviously he's a really talented player. What kind of problems did he present? And then, what kind of challenge was that to try to figure out how you were going to defend him in the second half?
Yeah, he took advantage of our game plan tonight. And then when we adjusted, he still made a couple of tough buckets, one-on-one, hit just enough mid-range jumpers, credit to him, and then just way too many free throws. Both teams fouled a lot. He was a beneficiary of 16 free throws. No one else was above 3. So his physicality really bothered us. Whether it was drives, offensive, it wasn't really off of offensive rebounds. It was just off of the drive game. Watch the film. We got to be better. That's on us. We didn't have
definitely on us. All right. So anything come out of that? I literally heard nothing that was just groundbreaking.
I think Taylor needs to go see a doctor about that breathing thing.
He's breathing hard. All right, let's get to these real quick. The first thing I do want to bring up is Shaggy. Shout out to you, Shaggy. Shaggy 62. So close. Listen, they had it. Listen, the exact same thing with Sane last time. It was now 108 to 102, and Shaggy and you said the Grizzlies win 108 to 100. So obviously very close, but also flip the teams. And so if y'all would just bet against the Grizzlies, like the 1-17 that we're doing, then I think we'd actually be able to give something away. So we will give away next time. I promise you. We're going to find somebody. If not, I'm going to give my prediction away. Real quick, going back to the very beginning, we were talking about what our identity is, and it's Ja. I believe that 100%. We do have a new offensive, kind of a guru offensive coordinator in there, running our offense, changing it a little bit. So they're trying to mess with it, but they're also having literally, there is no point guard on the team. Like the only point guard is Jacob Gilliard. And listen, I will eat my hat on him tonight. He played very well. They went after him the first 2 possessions when he was on the court. And after that, they kind of went away from him. So credit to him, but also Miami. Stupid, I guess. All right, let's get down to the other ones. Volcano says we might not lose a game with Ja. Don't believe that. But listen, this is what I want to talk about is the play-in means that the season is never over. I agree. Yeah. But I want to ask you, Nate, if the Grizzlies make it to the play-in and they are the 9 or 10 seed, is that a good season no matter what happens just in general? Because you have to win 1 or 2 games depending on what spot you're in. Actually, you have to win 2 games if you're in the 9-10 to make it. Is that a lost season?
No. If you make the play-in and you have 25 games without Ja and Steven Adams is out and you just got off to a 1-7 start, like, yeah, making the play-in is a successful season.
Okay.
They still have a chance to do even more than that.
I agree with that. But also, you're making the play-in with a team that's literally fought to get there all year long, right? Went through much adversity. I think that helps you. But also, does that help you going forward in the future seasons? Because then you could have helped yourself if you didn't make the play-in and you were lower and you were actually in the lottery. That could help you even more. So I'm not saying that I want to be in the lottery because that sucks. There's going to be a lot of sucky shows right here on this podcast network. But I will say that it might actually help you for the next season because getting the play-in, I won't say it doesn't help you. It definitely doesn't help you.
No, dude. But if you saw what the Heat did when they made the play-in last year. And you add Ja Morant to this team and I'm sure they make some kind of moves at the deadline. Like, you have a team that can compete.
Yeah.
They competed tonight. They competed against the Nuggets with like half of these guys that are here tonight out.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you got a team that can compete. Anything can happen. And at the end of the day, this team, like, who are you going to go get in the lottery this year? Honestly. Like, if you're not, there's very little chance with Ja Morant coming back that you're in like the top 5, right? I mean, maybe you are, but even then it's like, you're not running a youth movement anymore. Yeah, unfortunately, you kind of still are, right? But you're not sitting here trying to build and have a youth movement. You're trying to go win basketball games. You want to compete when you get into March, April, May, every year. You want to be in that position to go compete and try and get into June.
Right. No, listen.
Making the play-in is the lowest of the goals for the team still.
Okay. All right. Listen. You're more optimistic than I am, and it's usually the other way around. But like I'm not pessimistic. I'm just feel like I'm being realist right now. And the fact is, like, I'm gonna dampen my expectations just because looking at the team and how hard of a uphill climb it's going to be if and when Ja gets back, whatever happens in the what do we have left? 12? No. Maybe 25, 17 games, right?
Yeah, that sounds more right. Okay. This is game 8. Yeah.
Yeah. I knew there was a 2 or a 7, whatever. Well, same thing. Same math.
It's also basketball, man. And all this team needs to do is catch fire and have one of those runs that doesn't make any sense, like playing way out of their heads.
Yeah.
Just to survive until Ja gets back, and then playing that well is not over your head anymore. And listen, I understand there's a lot of people, I've seen a lot of comments. Ja Morant doesn't fix all these problems. You underestimate what a top 10, top 15 player in the world can do for you. I'm just going to say that. Like,
he does.
You got somebody that's when you get somebody that's that dynamic and that good. I mean, we saw what he did against the Lakers that one game where they scored like 9 points in the first quarter last year. And then he went on that heater of all heaters, right? Like, there's a lot he can do for you that you have to recognize, he can fix a lot of these problems. And quite frankly, Bismack Biyombo, as you insane deemed him as Temu Steven Adams, which still kills me, can do a good enough job of filling that role for you that getting John Moran back changes a lot of things. If you can tread water, get on a heater, go win 4 in a row at some point. Like, you can pull that off.
More than 4 in a row.
No, dude. If you win 4 in a row, what are they now? They're 1-7.
Oh, you're talking about before Ja gets back.
Before Ja gets back,
okay,
yeah.
I thought you're talking about
no. Before Ja gets back,
bruh.
you go win 4 in a row. Let's say they win 4 in a row right now.
Okay,
they're 5-7.
Okay,
then they play around 500 basketball.
Listen.
If you go get you're 5-7, 10-15 when Ja gets back,
dude,
perfectly within the realm of possibility.
Yes, we have won 1 out of 8.
Daniel, you're not listening to me. I understand. I'm saying they got to go play out of their minds to go do that.
Okay.
At the same time, you probably win tonight if Desmond Bane shoots the way he shot in all 3 games leading up to tonight.
But they
made it tough on him. They made it tough on him. He also missed shots that dang well he normally would make.
Where is it? 4-16 overall, 2 of 8. I guess he went 2 of 8.
At least 2 of those threes are just open threes that he just bricked.
Yeah, listen.
All right, and listen.
No,
that's all you need. And this is a good team.
Yeah.
This is a good team.
But they weren't,
if you're
competing. They weren't. I want you to understand.
No. Listen.
Hold on.
Being a good team, Daniel, listen to me. Being a good team doesn't mean you shoot out of your minds. Being a good team doesn't mean you play the best basketball in the world. Being a good team is figuring out how to win even when you're not playing your best basketball.
I understand that, but my thinking is this is not a good team. Like, now they have won some in a row. This is their first win away from their home court the entire season. Okay. They're starting Haywood Highsmith, and Tyler Hero plays 8 minutes, gets hurt. Duncan Robinson is playing majority of the minutes, who can't guard anybody, and he's out there guarding you. Like, that can't. Jason Richardson was trash. Thomas Bryant was not good, but he still had 6 rebounds. He had 2 more rebounds in his 12 minutes than our big guy had. Well, I guess Jaren. I guess we have Bane or Bismack Biyombo. But like they weren't good. That's not a good team right now. They have the pedigree because you still have Jimmy, Bam, and Lowry. But
the pedigree matters.
I agree.
Daniel, you play that. You get to that game in the 4th quarter against this Blazers, Wizards, or Jazz who you just played. The Grizzlies probably win.
Yeah, maybe. Still,
that matters.
I understand what you're saying, and I've said that from the very beginning. You get to 8 to 10 wins with this terrible start. If you can figure out a way to get to 8 to 10 wins, you're okay. I don't see a path to 8 wins. I feel like we're in the political market right here. I don't see a path to get to the 8 electoral college wins. Like, I just don't see it, man. I just
gross reference. Gross reference.
Aren't we in a voting year? We just had voting for local stuff last night.
You're gross.
All right. How is that gross? It's just
gross. Talk about. You're gross.
Lowry played out of his mind too. Hey, first of all, I will say Dak Daniels. Yes, he did. And did I predict it? Yes, I did. And did I cash on it? Yes, I did. If you are not a person who enjoys betting, then I apologize. This isn't going to be an ad for you. But if you enjoy betting, please join us over in our Discord. As soon as I take down my my comment, I apologize. But join us over there. God, I'm going to start cussing. Join us over Bluff City Bets here in the Discord channel. We obviously have some shows that we on Thursdays and Fridays, but also just in general, our brand, all you have to do is just sign up and you get shows like GBB Live hosted by Sean Coleman, but you can go over to the Bluff City Media app and join our Discord. And I promise you, I will win you money. Let's see real quick, Nate, we're going to do a pit stop just for you. Nate, what I put in a lot of bets tonight because it was a big slate. Let's count the number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15 bets tonight, Nate. All but one have concluded. What do you think my record is of the 14?
Of the 14, I'd say 12-2.
I am 10-4, buddy. Listen, good night. Another good night. We are
for you.
We are raking right now 10-4. I'd say that's good. So if you are a person who enjoys chatting with other fans, we have channels for the Grizzlies, the Tigers, you name it. But also we have our betting stuff in that. You can also get the same thing. I post my bets every single day, as well as some other people that post with us. We all give our thoughts and our reasons, but make sure you join us over there. It's $5 a month, so it's less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks. It might be the same as Dunkin'. I don't know the prices. I'm not a coffee drinker. But real quick, we're going to put a bow on this game just in general. I have to give out our player of the game because I think he deserves it. And that's going to be Jaren Jackson Jr. 28 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. He didn't do the other things. But tonight he wasn't asked to do the other things because we needed somebody to score. And he was a guy who scored. And tonight he scored 28 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block. Thoughts on Jaren's game overall tonight?
He's been awesome. He's been good all year. And that's, again, we said this last time, as a Grizzlies fan, at least for the long term, if not for the short term, you should be really encouraged by what you're seeing from Jaren Jackson, because him being able to put stuff together like this, while Desmond Bane's been awesome too, is a big deal to be able to see him go and put things together like that. And so offensively, he's coming into his own. Rebounds, that's the least amount of rebounds. He's averaging about 8 rebounds a game right now or coming into tonight. So he's been doing awesome stuff. And I think a lot of things that people wanted to see him do. 1, score, 2, rebound. The rest of it, we know what he can do. Nobody cares about his assist. He's actually averaging almost 3 assists right now as well. But yeah, it's great stuff to see from Jaren. And as a Grizzlies fan looking towards the future, you should be really encouraged. And it gives you hope, or maybe just me hope, that things can turn around here in the future too.
Yeah, so Jaren, he did some things tonight that I was very impressed with. Is he got to his left hand and he was banging pretty hard to get to that left-handed shot in the paint. But what he also did is he changed it up a little bit, and he did go to his left a little bit, but then he would come back late with his right and then get to the side of the rim. But also a lot of times he would just do one quick step and get into the lane. At that point, you can take the shot. You can, whether it's a hook, a floater, whatever it might be, he was getting to his shot whenever he needed to. And he was a guy that we really honestly relied on all night. And it didn't look good early in the game. It didn't look like he was going to dominate, but eventually just over time and kept banging. And honestly, he was fighting on the post with Bam, who played well, obviously. He got the better of Bam overall in points market. No, he didn't. Bam ended up with 30, didn't he? God, I forgot. Never mind. Early in the fourth, I felt good about Jaren getting the better of Bam, and then I think Bam went off late in that fourth, just as the entire team did. So overall, good night. And so we'll kind of keep moving on, but I just wanted to make sure we gave his the props to Jaren overall. All right, Nate, what you got?
All right, I'm gonna bring up Sid's comment right here because somehow I'm the beacon of optimism, which never happens. It's honestly a little bit freaky. I'm sure I'll turn it around before the night's over and get back to my normal temperamental self. But looking at the Grizzlies' next 9 games, you got the Jazz, the Clippers, the Lakers. This is the rest of November. Jazz, Clippers, Lakers, Spurs, Celtics, Rockets, Suns, Wolves, Jazz again. Out of those games, how many do you think they could win? Not that you think they're going to win. They could win.
So we're just going through November, right?
Yeah, just the end of November. You got 9 games left.
I like the win against the Jazz. You're going to the Clippers and the Lakers. AD could be out. The Clippers are now 0-2 with their big, their
AD
crew.
hurt again?
Who? AD's hurt? Yeah. I'm not sure he'll be hurt then, but I'd imagine he's not going.
We'll get to your comment in a second, John. We both saw that and laughed.
I would say they can win one of the West Coast, the Lakers and Clippers. Okay, so I'm 2-1 at this point. The Spurs,
Okay.
Spurs suck. I think we somehow lose. I don't know how.
Okay. The Celtics aren't a real game. So let's just not even.
Yeah, we're definitely losing that on the back-to-back. Everybody's sitting. Hey, if you're getting tickets to the Celtics Grizzlies game, you won't see the Grizzlies. You're going to see nobody. Okay.
We might as well sit the entire team. Actually, can we just forfeit?
It would be better than sitting. I would just say forfeit the game. If you have tickets to the game and you're expecting to see Marcus Smart against whoever, wait till later. But yeah, so obviously, so we're now 2-3 going into the last 4. I think you win. Oh my God, that Rockets game. One of the next 3, one of the next 4. So 3 and what? 3 and 6?
6. 3 and 6. So you got them at 4 and 13 going into that, right? I think I was going to give them 4 wins. I think 5 are winnable. So I think Jazz. No, they're not. Let's be clear. I think they can beat the Jazz. I think they can beat the Clippers. I think they can beat the Spurs. I think they can beat the Rockets. And I think they can beat the Jazz again.
Rockets are going to whoop our ace.
If I had to guess, yeah, but I think they could. Like I said, I would not put my money on 3 wins going into this. But if you're a Grizzlies fan and you're looking for optimism,
I agree.
5 of these next 9 are winnable. Now, let's say they go on one of these streaks, they win 5 of them.
Okay.
Now you're looking at 6 and 11. That means you just need to go 4 and 4 before Ja gets back, or even just 2 and 6. All I'm saying is that if you're throwing in the towel right now, you're throwing in the towel real early on the season.
I'm not listening.
I get it. It's ugly. It sucks. I hate it. My wife might leave me. We thought about getting a dog, but the dogs at the pound said, no, thank you. We want to go home to winners. Like they would rather, never mind, I'm not going to go that place because I'm sure PETA will come find us. So I'm not going to go there. My landlord just doubled the rent because of how bad the Grizzlies are. They said, honestly, the fact that we have the Grizzlies playing in our household is enough for us to double the rent. I understand.
Yeah, but
if you're looking for reasons to keep watching the games, which quite frankly,
we are going to though.
Reasons.
That's what I don't think
we have to. But I'm trying to find a reason that I can be happy to tune in every night. And the reason I'm happy to tune in every night is that if the Grizzlies get on a run, which every NBA team can go on a run. We saw the Wizards of last year go win like 7 or 8 in a row, and that team was terrible. There is a chance that you're sitting there 8 and 17, 10 and 15 when Ja Morant gets back. There's a shot.
Yeah.
Especially because they look more like a team than they did when they lost against the Wizards and the Jazz in that first Blazers game.
Yeah, listen, I like the optimism. I'm just being honest with myself and also everybody else. I've always been as transparent as I possibly could be in everything that I do. What I say most of the time, majority of the time, I truly, honestly feel. There are some stuff that I just hold on to just because it's a good bit. But I will say that when every game starts, I have the optimism. It's not that I don't have the optimism that we're going to win. And it's not that I don't enjoy watching the games. It's just the fact is I'm honestly going to be realistic that I don't see 10 wins for this team before Ja gets back. I don't see us at 10 and 15. I just think that's too high, too big of a hill to climb at this point. If we could go 500 basketball for the next 12 games, I would be thrilled. Absolutely thrilled. But I just don't see how that's possible. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying, looking at this team, it's tough. So, NK wants to talk about the lottery picks. No, we don't. That will be I hope that is not the discussion because that is not the podcast or show or whatever we're doing. That is not what I want to get on because that sucks. That just is like that's just like no hope. That's so bleak, and I don't want to talk about that. But John's talking about something that might kind of suck you in a little bit and put a smile on your face. Is the Skims that Lowry was wearing tonight Man, big booty Lowry got them skims and they got shaped up, man. It was nice.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on.
All right, so what else do you have on this
I'm not
game? Let's go
following
ahead.
that up. You kidding me? It's gross.
All right, so real quick, let's get to some of these comments because I know we had some, and then we're going to go ahead and put a bow on this game, get to our break, and then come back and preview the next game. But I'm looking at some of the free throws. Big Die 1976. Shout out OG. Some free throws in the fourth. The free throws in the entire game were horrible. What was the free throw number?
They shot 60 total.
No.
What is that divided by 48?
We were 21 of 28. They were 27 of 32. They shot 84.4. We shot 75%.
Yeah, 1.25 free throws per minute.
God, dog. He was saying that, he was saying that Bane had a tough night, and I agree. Yep. And as C High Rocket says, without Bane having his normal offense, the team has no shot at W. Tonight, I don't know if y'all noticed this or not, but if you looked at Bane and how they were guarding Bane, is they were face guarding him just in general, is getting up into his area and then letting whatever kind of actions or whatever happened behind them was a moot point. And so what they were doing is saying, hey, we're going to take you out of the offensive flow and we're going to make you run your offense without. And that's why Jaren had a big night. It's just like Bill Belichick does in football, or used to do when he had a decent team, is they would take away the best player and say, hey, your game plan might be to go with your best player, whether it's like a Devontae Adams. We're going to take him away. We're going to put two people on him, and we're just going to take him out of the game plan. He's going to struggle. If you keep trying to force it to him, it's probably not going to be a good night for you. But if you have a way and try to figure out another game plan to go away from him and actually still be a very good team, then you have a chance to win. And tonight we had Jaren, but that was it. We had nobody else to be his number two. And usually Jaren is Bane's number two, but he did not have a Robin tonight for Jaren being Bane, being Batman. All right, I think that's it. Like I saw all the comments. I didn't see anything crazy. NK says Truman Bane played at a maximum level for the Grizz to even have a chance. They're killing themselves 100%. And that's what I don't want to hate on Bane at all. Like he had a bad night, but that was the game plan by the Heat. Even some of those have been blowouts. It's not a lot of margin for error. Easy enough for me to say. And that is honestly what we have. So looking at what we have, who was doubtful tonight was that Conchar. So we should get Conchar back because he goes doubtful to questionable Friday. We should get Conchar back. When Conchar gets back, that should relieve somebody from being on the actually playing. Who would that be? Probably Roddy or Lofton. Even though Lofton played well in his 7 minutes, he's just not getting a big run.
It's got to be Roddy or Zaire, whoever sucks more on that night.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think you're going to go ahead and get Judy back if he's healthy. And then
back to being negative. What the hell happened to preseason Zaire? Seriously. Dude was crushing it.
This is what happens, though. Like, you have your ebbs and flows. With anybody
it's just confidence.
No.
It's just confidence.
It's just like, okay, Luke Kennard was sucking. And now he looked great, and then he started sucking again in the second half. Like, it just ebbs and flows.
Here's a church mouse again, man. He's a church mouse again tonight. I want my real NBA players back, Daniel. Give me my real NBA players back.
I agree. Okay, I want them back too. All right, so
my negative Nate was screaming to get out for a second. I calm myself down.
All right, so let's go ahead and wrap up this game. We're going to go ahead and preview the next game because I do have some thoughts on that. They played a game tonight as the Jazz. They played a game tonight against the Indiana Pacers, and so they did not win, did not play well. They have Walker Kessler out, but overall the Grizzlies they played well at times. Luke had 27 minutes. Aldama 26 minutes, and the starters all had 20 plus, 30 plus almost, except for Zaire. Overall, Smart had an okay game, nothing crazy. He did get some more assists late in the game, got him up to 7, had 11 points. Bane, just overall, a bad game for Bane now is 15-5-3. Like, that's a bad game for Bane. And that's great to say. Like, his floor has raised so much that now that because his ceiling is just taking off. It's crazy. And so the consistency out of Bane has been awesome to see. Yep. Obviously, Biyombo played well, almost a double-double, 9 points with 10 rebounds. No assists, which was a little different than normal. This last game, he had 4. He had none tonight. Jaren, obviously, we talked about the player of the game, is 28 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. He did have 5 fouls, which was different than the other night. Off the bench, we're looking at Aldama is 12 points and 8 rebounds. The dude sucked in the first half. Second half, totally different guy. Missed a bunny at the rim, was not good. He didn't dive for a ball. That sucked. Kenny Lofton Jr., just in his little limited minutes, he looked fine. He looked like an NBA player, right? Good. That's what you want. Little minutes here and there. These are the type of minutes that you can get if you can somehow bridge a gap. This is the type of guy who can help you bridge a gap, gives you some offensive firepower. Roddy was just meh tonight. He didn't do anything terrible for the most part. He hasn't looked great, and so I just don't say anything. He didn't do anything worse than he had been doing. He just looked meh. Yeah. Luke was hot in the first, very cold in the second, and Jacob Gilliard, Mighty Mouse himself, picked on very first 2 possessions of the game when he was in there defensively. But he brought a stabilization to the offensive end that put people in the right spots, and that's what's important, is they need somebody who can run the offense. But what you look at him is when he's playing on the offensive end, he's moving. When he passes the ball, he cuts through the lane, and then he comes out the other end, right? And then he comes and he funnels back up to the top, creating his motion style offense, and then pushes back down. So there's a lot that was good out of Jacob Gilliard. It's just his size is just so small. You can't run him long minutes. But for his minutes, he played good. But overall, as Matt Skate News, well, that sucked. I agree.
All right. I have one question for you to wrap it up. All right. I got one question for you before we move on to the next game. So we can tie your little bow on it.
Tie my bow up. I'm ready to tie it up.
If the Grizzlies have played with the consistency they played with against the Nuggets, or what I think they found tonight against the Heat, I thought they had some consistent stuff they got to that could work. They played consistent basketball, even if it wasn't great basketball. If they'd have played with that against the Wizards and the first game against the Blazers, do you think they could have won both those games?
Yeah, you could have.
That would make them 3-5. Do you feel better if they're 3-5? I know they're not.
Yes.
Okay.
But the problem is
they're not.
They're not.
But if they start playing consistent basketball, I just think there's a way they can turn this around.
I agree.
I think there's a way they can turn it around.
They're going to need some breaks. They really are. They're going to need Tyler Hero to get hurt in the first half as a break. Honestly, that's the truth. And you need one of their guys to have a bad night, and you didn't get that. You didn't get both, and you really needed that. And you needed Bane to. That's the thing is I can't remember who said it. The margin for error is so small that's what sucks. But I agree with you. I feel much better if they've won 3 games by now.
Yep, but also it's basketball. You just need one guy to get on a heater on a given night. Yep. Just somebody to step up every night. If it's Jaren, if it's Bane, if it's Roddy, whoever, you're good. There's still a way. That's all I want to leave this with, is there's still a way for them to turn this around. It is not too late for this season to take a better direction.
Yeah. Real quick, because I know that Grizz Company Main just got here. Please stop playing Roddy and Z and Santi lineups. Jenkins, you're killing me. Yeah, I agree. We hit on that earlier. After this is over, after this is over, go back and let's do a little bit. Grizz Company Main.
If my poor wife has to hear me say this lineup's going to get crucified one more time, she might just actually leave.
That's the part of it, man. You got to find a way to survive if you want to get your starters back playing together. That is what's tough. But who knows? We'll see. To answer your question real quick, Matt Skate News, Z didn't do anything. He played meh.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. It was worse than meh. We're not talking about
him again. All right, let's get to a commercial break. We'll be back here in 2 minutes and 7 seconds to talk about the Jazz preview and tell you a little bit about why Walker Kessler being out is big for the Grizzlies.
I am highly upset, man.
Oh, man.
ESPN, you dastardly dogs you. Last week had us feeling good. They picked the Grizzlies to be first in the West with about 48.5 wins. And what a difference a few days makes.
What a difference.
You put out your list of the top 100 players in the NBA. Desmond Bain jumps in at 61. Jaren Jackson Jr. comes in at number 31. Jaren's top 25 to me, but if you all right, whatever. I think that's a little slight to Jaren. Desmond Bain is disgusting, in my opinion. Then we get Ja Morant, All-NBA player, 2-time All-Star, one of the most dynamic offensively players in the NBA, Ja Morant. That guy was number 35 on their list, Kenny Stubblefield. The same people that said the Grizzlies will be the first team in the West. They're going to get that done with just some regular dudes.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Just curious, you kind of talked about the transfers and things like that. How has that changed your mindset from a roster management standpoint? Like, incredible recruiter. All the classes, I think we had 2 back-to-back and 21 and 22 top classes. How does that change with the transfer portal? Do you start focusing more on upperclassmen? Do you kind of get away from the younger freshmen? How does that work?
Yeah, so I still believe in our coaching staff, the way we do things and developing guys. And that I will never get away from that philosophy. We're still going to recruit a high school class. Now, there's a lot of colleges out there that say, screw this. We're pushing all the chips in on this roster, win right now, and we'll figure it out. Sure. And if it doesn't, right, it implodes and bad things happen. But I think you still have to bring in true freshmen and develop them and see what they can become. And that I'll never waver from that. But the portal certainly changed things.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Yo, welcome back. Tonight we missed out on Grizz Teller, just a little bit off. The points were there. Everything was perfect. Sane was awesome again in that. But we missed it again. So join us for the next time. We're going to have a guest on. They will give us their predictions, and then we're eventually going to give something away. Okay, at some point, we're going to be able to give something away. It's been too long. But the Grizzlies, obviously, they lost 108-102, but we're looking now into the Jazz preview on Friday. Some big things that I saw tonight was Walker Kessler being out, and that was big going to be for the Grizzlies because now you limit their size, right? You limit their potential rebounding. And so then you can slide over some guys, but also you have to look at how does Bismack Biyombo go against this team? Because Bismack can match up very well with Walker Kessler. Now what do you do? Because you have smaller guys who still rebound well, and you want to be able to use Bismack, but also you have to use Bismack. And so what do you do in this scenario now? So who does he guard, and how does this offense look? Does it help you on the offensive end, or is this like hey, this is a game where we play 20 minutes and maybe try to hopefully get a good game out of Adama?
Yeah, I was about to say, you're going to want a good Santi game because Biyombo, the other big really is Olynyk, and
yes.
You don't want Biyombo on the perimeter. Really, right. Kind of defeats the purpose. And Olynyk's going to knock down open shots. That's what he does. So more of a Santi game, honestly, more of a Junior game. It's a game where you're not going to get outsized, and so having Junior in there who has a nose for the ball is it's a good thing to do. We'll see. We'll see because teams that can make shots are teams that are bad matchups for the Grizz. So I think you're going to have to play Biyombo some. I think your best shot is probably to once someone like Olynyk comes out of the game and the Jazz size down, and let me put a little asterisk next to this. I don't think this is something Taylor Jenkins will do. I don't think he has it in him to try and do it, but you could try and outsize the Jazz. You could try and outbig them and just say, we're going to get every rebound and we are going to live in the paint. I don't think Taylor Jenkins will do that. I think he's too stubborn. I think he'll stick to, hey, we're going to try and shoot our shots and shoot 53s, even though we make 28% of them.
Yeah, that's what also I was thinking about as well. Is I wonder if there is a way that we might be able to outsize them and say we're going to control the offensive glass, we're going to control the defensive glass, and if you shoot, so be it. If you put Biyombo in a pick and roll and just pick and roll us to death, and so be it. Listen, we're getting away with Jacob Gilliard minutes. Not that he's a terrible NBA player, but he's just outsized. But we're somehow getting away with that on the defensive end, where his biggest, lack of is, right? So I'm looking at maybe we allow Biyombo to be on be able to play, because he can still match up with Marketing and even Collins. Collins literally stands in the corner for most of the time and does not do a whole lot. And so I'm curious if we go ahead and stick with Biyombo, because I think we might have a chance to actually outsize them and control the boards, which would be our best thing. Plus, we might be able to get to the front of the rim, get some of them in foul trouble. That might be big.
Here's our post-game presser. I thought our guys had good activity, both sides of the ball. And, we got good shots. We got to the shots that we want to get to, the shots that we practice. And, we just got to hit the shots. And, credit those guys. It's a good team over there. They hit some really tough shots tonight. We didn't have anyone within 15 feet, but they were tough shots that they shoot at a 60% clip. But, we just got to keep executing. We got to do a better job executing on our end, having better defensive activity, move the ball a little bit more on the offensive end. But, I think the guys been doing the right things. We'll get back to practice, get back to the drawing board, and, get back to hopefully winning some basketball games.
If you'd have been like, yeah, we got to get back to the basketball games. Like that would have killed it. This is exactly what I hear out of Taylor's press conferences. Is he's not saying anything, which honestly, that's the best thing most of the time as a coach. You just try to say stuff without saying anything. And it frustrates fans, but in the end of the day, it doesn't get you in trouble with your team. But looking back at this game that we played with the Jazz, where they won 133-109. If you go back and look at it, the first quarter was 42-19. After that, they beat us by 10 in the second. The Grizzlies then win by 8 in the third, and then win by 1 in the fourth. And so, yes, it is a bad game, and it was gross. But at the end of the day, that first half was abysmal, and that's where we were doing the 5-out, no in. Well, now we're almost having to go in, and so that's the biggest thing is we're having to be more in the paint, and because Walker Kessler's not there, but actually I feel like it helps us and gives us potential to be able to get to the front of the rim. Tonight when they were going against the lineup of the Pacers, let's look and see what Miles Turner did. Miles Turner had 23 minutes. 22 points, 6 rebounds. Halliburton went off with 16 points and 13 assists and 6 rebounds. And that was pretty much it. Aaron Nesmith went 4 of 6 from deep. Buddy Hield shot his 2 of 12 for 10 points from deep. Overall, it looked like it was just they were getting to the front of the rim. And if I look at the numbers as well, they had 101 shots in the game overall compared to the Jazz 96. 41 of the 101 came from deep, 13 of 41. And so realistically, not a great shooting night from deep out of the Pacers. They were just active. And if you look at the numbers in general, I don't know if anybody's seeing this, the stat line at all for these team stats. But honestly, except for field goal percentage, the Jazz out-rebounded them. They had the same assist. The Pacers had 14 steals and 7 blocks. That is what's big. It's the 14 steals and 7 blocks. So what that tells me is if you can figure out a way to get aggressive to them, that's how you create that. And if you can get on those fast break points, even though they only had 21 fast break points to the Jazz 20, but they had 14 steals to their 3 steals is incredible. And one thing I will say is shout out to Chantel Norwood. What up? And welcome. What else do you have on this Jazz game? Because we're over our hour already. I was trying to do 45 minutes tonight, but we ended up going over. What's your thoughts?
Main thing, Captain Optimism over here for exactly one game. Guarantee you will not get this much optimism from me probably in any other game this year. But I'm interested to see when this team decides to want it more. Because it wasn't until the fourth quarter we had guys diving for the ball. You're 1-7.
Yeah.
At what point are you going to decide you're desperate and you want it more, and you're going to go crash the offensive glass, and you're going to be the one that hustles the most?
Yeah.
If you hustle the most, you got enough that you can beat some of these teams. So we'll see.
You can always count on Ryan. We can't stay in front of Duncan Robinson. How we're going to get aggressive. I agree.
Yeah,
that's
trust me. Anytime David Roddy has to think right now, it goes poorly. I love David Roddy. I swear I love the man. Dude, if he has to do anything other than be a mindless athlete right now, you're done. You're screwed.
This is becoming an abusive relationship.
Unfortunately, I'm used to those.
I will say tonight, I'm going to give my prediction. I think the Grizzlies do win. I think Walker Kessler not being there allows Jaren to do what he wants. I also think they aren't going to guard Bane as well. I think that they are going on the road. They have been on the road now. This will be the fourth game before they go back home. So it's the last game before they have actually Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off. They have a 3-day stretch where they're off. This is their last game. They haven't won. They're on a 4-game losing streak. They haven't won since the Grizzlies game. Obviously, they're going to want to get right, but if you can somehow come out in the first and just compete with them, because they do like to be a first quarter scoring team, after that, I feel like you can jump back on them and actually control the game. But overall, I bet it's a 122, the most points the Grizzlies have scored all year, to 114. 122 to 114. What's your thoughts?
Ditto. I don't know, man. I'm just going to show up and watch the game. I'm just going to be happy to be there. I've got no predictions. I'm going to choose to believe they're going to win until they don't win. That's all I got for you.
All right, so if you are a fan of the show, please do us a favor. Hit the subscribe button. It helps us out. We do post the shows to Bluff City Media, where we have every show coming out live, but also because we do have our own YouTube channel, we post them as well to Grizz 901. If for some reason you don't want the other stuff with Bluff City Media, I don't know why you wouldn't, because there's so much good content, whether it's the same show that's coming out at noon on Wednesdays and Fridays, whether it's the Tiger stuff, there's so much there. And there's so much other Grizzly stuff within that. Make sure you tune in the morning to the Daily Grind. Luke will be there as well as Mark, I believe. But that's their show. So tune in. It's a 30-minute show, quick in and out, 9 o'clock every morning. It's the Daily Grind. Make sure you tune in weekdays. But go ahead and hit the subscribe button at Grizz 901, Bluff City Media. You can do one or the other, both, whatever. Hit our Discord channel. Feel free to join us over there. We're always happy to hang out, talk Grizzlies in the channels, but just in general, just to be around other Grizzlies fans. And so, listen, I know a lot of times it sucks to be 1-7. It really does. But I will say that I think that obviously, look at Shaggy coming in, 124, 111. I like it. I believe that there is optimism to be had. And if the Grizzlies do figure out a way to win 2 in a row, right, then you're talking about getting a little bit more momentum. But I think it's important. If you can get Jitty back healthy, it helps stabilizes a little bit of these young guys who honestly are very inconsistent right now. X back healthy somehow gives you more depth with your bigs. At that point, I feel like you're feeling right, you're getting right, and you're heading the right direction. But overall, I expected the Grizzlies to play well moving forward, but we have to get healthy first.
Yeah, I was about to say, for anyone who's like all doom and gloom, give me back my real NBA players, and then I'll be doom and gloom.
Yeah,
give me my real NBA players. Like, the season may end up where it's blown. At the end of the day, as a Grizzlies fan, this ain't your team. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just not. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say. Also, for anyone whose team fire Bally, bankrupt Bally, you have a friend in me. I just want to say that too.
You got a
#,
friend.
bankrupt Bally.
You got a friend in me. All right, that's all we got. Let's have a great night. I'll be back here Friday. I'm not exactly sure what the plan is just yet. We're going to be going to the weekend. I know I will not be here on Sunday for sure. I will not be here. It's actually my daughter's birthday party we're throwing. Hey. It's literally right around the same time as the game. The first time we had it planned on like birthday weekend, all set to go. That girl got scarlet fever. And I didn't even know like that was still a thing these days.
Only Daniel's child.
Yeah. So somehow she got scarlet fever, literally. So we had a whole cookie cake to ourselves. So today I went and got my own Costco cake. A lot cheaper for sure.
Proud of you.
All right. That's all we got. Let's have a great couple days. We're going to try to be happy about that. But I hope that this show brings you some joy, brings you some entertainment. And as always, thank you for joining us in the comments. It helps us. It's our favorite thing. So if you're wondering, should I comment? Should I not? It lets us know, one, who's watching, but two, I would rather do all comment shows because it allows us to be flexible to kind of hear from you. So if you ever have a comment and you're hearing this the next day, whether it's through, Apple, Spotify, join us live. But also if you are on Twitter watching, when you have majority of a lot of our Twitter people there, join us over at YouTube. We'd love to have you in comments so we can kind of see who it is, but also get to answer whatever you have. So, but that's all we have. We'll see you Friday. Be nice and tell your friends.